One of the most common questions is, how do I open a corporation? To open a corporation, the first thing you need to do is prepare a document. And this document is called Articles of Incorporation. This is the document that is filed with the Department of State. In our case in Florida, we file it with Tallahassee. That's the centralized place that all the documents are received, where they are approved, and they assign a corporate number. In order to file this document, you need to prepare. The document requires name. What is the name of the corporation? This is one of the most important things that you have to think about. When you put the name of the corporation, a lot of people think about, oh, let me add the first two letters of each names of the family members, and that is fine. You can use whatever name you want, but try to use a name that is useful for the reader, that whenever somebody reads that name, they can identify what is exactly that you do for a living. For instance, let's assume that you're opening a corporation for import-export, and the name that you want to use is Razzelli. And you want to use that because you are Rafael, your wife is Celine, and then you have Louis as one of your sons. And that's fine. You can combine that and use the name. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean anything to the general public. So you can add to that name. You can say Razzelli Import and Export, and by doing that, you are telling the viewer, whoever reads that name, you are telling them, I do import and export. And that's important in your business because it's part of the marketing. It's part of the strategy when you're out there in the market, letting people know who you are and what services you offer. So the name has to be a name that is unique. That means that nobody else had that name within the state of Florida. And one point that I want to make here is that you don't confuse a name of the corporation with the trademark. There are two different items. There are two different things, two different animals. They require different setup. They require different forms filed into different government agencies. The corporation, the Articles of Incorporation, you will file that with the state. If you want to file for a trademark, you will do that on the federal government. You will file that with the federal government. So we're not going to talk about that. We're talking about corporation. The first thing is the name. After you have the name, most corporations, you're going to see that they have a last name. Inc., Corp., PA. Those are the different last names that you can put into corporation. In the sample that we had before, we said Razzelli Import and Export, and you can put either Razzelli Import and Export Inc., or you can say Razzelli Import and Export Corp. It really doesn't matter. You can use either one. Inc. or Corp, there's no difference to it. It's just a last name. It's like I'm a Cordero, you may be a Smith. What's the difference? No difference. It's just a last name. Well, maybe not true. Maybe when I was in school, since Cordero is C and goes before S, Smith, I was first in the line. But other than that, there's no difference. So in reality, there's no difference between the Inc. and the Corp or the PA. Second thing you need to do with that corporation, when you prepare the articles, you need to put an address. Most people said, well, I know I have to have an address for the corporation, but I really don't have a place yet. I'm going to start from my own business, from my own house. I'm going to start from my kitchen table. And that is fine. You can do that. You can use any address as long as it's not a P.O. box. But you can use any address that you want. So at that point, you're going to use the address of your house. When you move the business, when you rent the place, when you actually grow the business and you move it to an actual office building or an actual warehouse, depends on the line of business, then you change the address. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do that. So when you start a corporation, you can use your home address as the business address. The third thing you need in that corporation is a board of directors. You need to have board of directors. And that means you need to have a president. That means you need to have a secretary. That means you need to have a treasurer. And those are three different positions that you have to fill. President, secretary, treasurer. You know what? In Florida, one person can occupy all of those. So in Florida, technically, one person can do a corporation. Other states may be different, but in Florida, you can do a corporation with one person only. Okay? And you can be the president of the corporation, you can be the secretary, and you can be the treasurer. The other thing that I want to mention is the registered agent. Registered agent is the name and address of a person that actually lives in the state. And that is a name and address required. So if somebody is going to write to you, if somebody needs to find out who you are and where to send some correspondence, they can use that name and address. Most people, whenever we do a corporation, most of the business owner, they are also the registered agent of the corporation. In some cases, professionals will ask for them to be the registered agent, and that's fine too. You can either have a professional person doing that for you, or you can do it yourself. It all depends on you and how much money you want to spend. So let's recap a little bit what we have talked about so far. You're going to open a corporation, you're going to register that with the state, And in order to do that, you're going to fill out the form or the document called Articles of Incorporation. In that document, you're going to include the name of the entity, and that name should have a last name, which is Inc., Corp, or PA. Either one. You have to choose which one you're going to use. As a matter of fact, PA is only for professionals. Like in my case, you see Cordero CPA, PA, and the PA stands for Professional Association because we have a license. So most architects, most doctors, people that are professional licensed, they need to use the PA instead of the Inc. and the Corp. Otherwise, you can use the Inc. or the Corp. It doesn't matter, there's no difference. It's really which one sounds better, which one you like it the most. After you have the name, then you're going into the board of directors. Board of directors meaning I need to have a president, I need to have a secretary, I need to have a treasurer. Thanks God, in Florida, you can be all of those. You can have all the different hats. You can have all the positions for yourself. And then you need to have a registered agent. And remember now the address has to be a physical address, cannot be a P.O. box. And it can be your house at the beginning, and then you can change that later when you move. When you have the corporation, that will be step number one. That will be the first thing that you have to do in order to create a business. File the documents with the government, they approve the documents, and you have a corporation, and it's already ready to do business for you. So this is about corporation. Next, we're going to talk about some other items that goes after the corporation, but that will be in video number 2. Video number 1 is regarding the corporation, the minimum requirements, what you have to do to register a corporation. I hope you enjoy, and see you soon.